Have you ever played a Game Boy game? Of course you have, the answer totally should be yes. Wasn't it irritating going on long car journeys or on holiday and having to carry around multiple games with you, not knowing which one you want to play? What if there was a simpler solution, where you could just have one cartridge but multiple games on there? Well, that solution is Multicarts, completely unlicensed, unofficial cartridges that would sometimes hold up to 300 games on them. Most of the time though, these cartridges would only hold 5 to 10 of the same game and just repeat it multiple times on there. I'm going to have a look at some of the Multicarts I have in my possession, some of which I got when I was younger and some I picked up through car boot sales and through charity shops. I've got one that's got 280 in one, I've got a Game Boy Advance one that has 62 in one, and I have multiple ones here that have 32 and also 20 in one. Let's pop a few of these in and see if we can find actually something worth playing. So you may be thinking, 36 games on one cartridge, what an absolute deal. Well, if you've ever heard of anything like Action 52, then you know where this is going straight away. Unlike Action 52, most of these games were actually released and are okay, to an extent. A lot of the games on here are just doubles, triples, quadruples, just multiples of the same game, albeit with slightly different titles. Sometimes you even get some homebrew games, or just general hacks of others. For example, we have a classic here, which is Mario 4. I'm pretty sure I've never played this, so let's have a look-see and see what this actually plays like. Well, at least that's definitely Mario. I mean, his face does look a little weird, but other than that, this should be okay, as long as it plays like a Mario game. Here we go then. Well, that's Mario, and that's a Goomba. You can fire mushrooms instead of fireballs, that's a little bit different. Surely that would make all the enemies bigger instead of making them die. And that's a frog. I don't remember there being frogs in the original game, or any of the versions on the Game Boy. Well, this is probably just a reskin of another game then, and God knows what that other game is. Let's have a look and see how it plays though. Platforming's a little bit awkward. It's a little bit floaty, and doesn't really want to jump at the same time you press the button. Oh sweet, another power up. I wonder what this one does. And we won't know because I died into a pit straight away. That's handy, isn't it? What a great place to put that item. Ooh, a Yoshi icon. Wonder what that's going to do. Awesome. Now I get to play as Yoshi. And I can't get out? Does this run out at any point? Oh sweet, it does, but I'm still trapped. Okay, well that's the end of that one. I mean, that wasn't actually too bad, so if the rest of the games are like that, I'm actually going to be pretty happy about this. Let's try the next game. I'm assuming as this says World Cup, this is going to be exactly the same game. And I'm not wrong, it is the same game, albeit all in Japanese. On to the next one then. Well, if the last one was World Cup and it was World Cup, I'm assuming this one's probably going to be Super Mario Land. And it is Super Mario Land. Brilliant. Awesome game. I'm not here to play awesome games. Next. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that if the last two are the same games, then this being Tetris is just Tetris. Let's move on. Next is Flipple, or Fleeple. I'm not really too sure how to say this. Seems like a pretty fun game. You essentially just shoot a block out, it grabs the one behind it, pushes others to the back. You just have to match as many as possible and clear as many as it wants you to clear to complete the level. Pretty fun game, but not really that enticing. Next game. Ah, great. This will be fun. I'm sure I'll be able to understand everything that's going on. Awesome, it's Mahjong. I've always wanted to learn how to play this, but this is not the right way to learn, so let's just move on to the next one. To be honest, a lot of these games are games that have already been released, so let's try one with a different name. Let's have a look-see here. Mario Legend. That's sure to be something new, right? Awesome, it's just Super Mario Land. Let's try another. Now, an N64 version of Mario on the Game Boy, this has got to be outstanding. I mean, if you're getting the whole of the N64 version of Mario on one little Game Boy cartridge along with 36 other games, it's got to be great, right? It's just Mario 4. I mean, they could have just put some effort in and put the 6 in front of the 4 just to then make it Mario 64, but whatever. Right then, well, that was fun. Let's try the next one. Another 32 in 1. Let's see if this one's got anything better on it. So on this 32 in 1, it basically looks like there's only 4 games on it, but they're just repeated 8 times with different names. And some of these names are absolutely genius. So, rather than just choosing the original 4 games at the very top of the list, which are blatantly going to be what they are, let's choose a different one instead. Let's pick this one. And unsurprisingly, it's just tennis. I do love tennis, but not really here to play those sort of games. Really do want to find something a bit more random, so let's move on to another one. Well, that went well. Let's try a different one again. I mean, some of these names are genius. For example, Looney Tunes. Why don't we just call it Never Looney instead? This isn't actually a bad game. The controls are a little bit slippery, and the frisbee is a little bit awkward to use. I mean, you can make it wrap around you in a sort of almost infinite sort of way, but other than that, it's not a bad game. Again, probably the best one on the cartridge. So, let's try another one. This seems like a good choice. It's not regular Battle City, it's very Battle City. Let's see how much more Battle City it is. And apart from the grating noise that plays all the time as you move or don't move, which is just infuriating to hear, this is just the same game it's always been. So considering there's only really 4 games on here that just multiplied 8 times, let's choose between Snoopy's game and Snoopy's game. Yes, let's choose one of these two. I'm sure there's a difference between them both. Again, it's just a puzzle game with Snoopy. It's not actually that bad, but I'm not here to find games like this. I'm here to find the random stuff that's hidden on these cartridges. So, let's have a look at another one. Well, that was just grand, wasn't it? Well, on to the next one. This one appears to have Sonic the Hedgehog on it, so let's see how this one fares. Now, obviously, because these aren't official cartridges, they can be a little bit irritating to get to work. Does mean it's going to take a few attempts, but hopefully there's going to be something worth playing once we actually get this started. Again, this is a 32 in 1, but there's only 5 games that repeat themselves on this one. That doesn't really mathematically make a lot of sense. Well, as there's a Sonic game on here, let's try that one. Hopefully it's actually going to be a Sonic game. Well, that's definitely Sonic the Hedgehog, but dear God, my ears, what is that? Oh, Well, that's definitely a Sonic theme, but dear God, is that just painful to listen to. Let's just get straight past that. So here I was expecting it to be Sonic 3D Blast, the Mega Drive or Sega Saturn game, and it turns out it's neither of them two. It looks like to be another homebrew game, and the reason I say that is because of the jumping. Most homebrew games, the jumping is the one thing that lets it down. So if I press the jump button, instead of going dead straight up and then easily moving left and right like you would do in Sonic or Mario normally, he decides to hang in the air unless you hold the direction and press jump at the same time. This is going to make it incredibly annoying to play, I can guarantee it. And like a normal Sonic game, you can't roll into enemies. Or, no, wait a minute, that's the complete opposite of what should be able to happen there. Not only is the movement stiff, the controls really awkward, and the fact that you can't really jump on enemies properly because their hitboxes seem to be completely screwed. You can't really pick up rings that often, you can't really take out any of the boxes, and the boxes seem to randomly have springs inside them instead of actually anything useful. Plus, when you get hit, you don't drop your rings, you just lose all the rings you have. This is going to be a nightmare to get through, let's just see. Well, I'm about done with that. Way to go ruin one of my favourite things ever. Thankfully, I'm never going to play that game ever again, and I would burn this, but let's see what other craptacular games are on here then. Here's a classic. Why play Dr. Mario when you can play Dictor Mario instead? Same game, doesn't make a difference, still super fun though, gotta love that music. Next game. What to choose next? Play Pac-Man? Well, if it's going to give me an order like that, I may as well try it out. And unsurprisingly again, it is just Pac-Man. You just think that they would just try, maybe just try and put something unique on here, but not unique like that Sonic the Hedgehog game. Next game. So you've got the Little Mermaid, Small Mermaid, 98 Small Mermaid, or how about we just go for the simplistic term of Mermaid game? I'm sure it's going to be something completely different than all the other ones are. No, this is just the Little Mermaid, by Capcom to be fair, but for the Game Boy. It's not a bad... Do you class it as a platformer when it's underwater and there's no platforming? It's not a bad game, but I'm not particularly impressed with it. I am just trying to blast through it as quick as possible. Next game. Well, it's blatantly obvious we have to try one of the Crystal games next, but which one to try? How about the brilliantly titled Play Crystal? I'm sure it'll be just the same as, like, Play Pac-Man. I don't actually recognise this game, but I'm assuming as it's a Data East title, it is actually a properly licensed game in some form. However, saying that, the controls are super slippery. I'm assuming it's meant to be like that again, because, again, I've never played this. But this isn't something I'm going to play for longer than the 20 seconds that I'm now going to talk about it. And that's probably about enough time. That was surprisingly okay, and by okay I mean pretty much shocking. On to the next, and this one appears to have some Pokemon games on it, so let's have a look-see and see whether any of these actually work. Now, considering this had Pokemon pictures on the outside of the cartridge, I wasn't really not going to believe that there wasn't some Pokemon games on here, so to have 4 of them on one cartridge is pretty sweet, even if 3 of them are technically the same game, one's just an updated version of it. However, looking at some of the other games on here, they do seem to be some of the old favourites, things like Asteroids, but what is this, the Game of Harmony? So you can't really get more basic than this. I mean, this generally looks like crap, and it plays like crap too. I have no idea what I'm meant to be doing here. I assume I'm meant to be knocking the 2 balls together, but it moves so awkwardly. Just get in the hole. Just get in the hole. Yeah, I'm pretty much done with this. This is probably the worst game I played today, and to be fair, I've not even shown you a few of the other games that I could have actually spent a lot more time on to show how bad they were. On to the next one, or actually, should I say, let's get on to a Pokemon game.